This video is what an American thinks about Turkey. I spent some time in Istanbul, and then I went down to see Gallipoli. I was going to go down to see Troy, but I kind of lost my motivation. There's lots of cool stuff to see in Turkey, and it wasn't that much, but I was just kind of, when I was in Turkey, I decided to suddenly go to Nepal. But anyways, I was in Turkey and Istanbul, and man, Istanbul is really interesting because it's Constantinople, which is where Rome moved their capital. They had the dual capital, and then Rome fell, and so that was just Constantinople, and so there was lots of ruins from there. Like they had their Circus Maximus, which is that big oval, and it was still there. And it was more like a park you walk around, kind of more, I guess, overgrown than the one in Rome where they leave alone. But they still had like the big middle statue in the middle of it from back then. And right next to that, they had the underground, like I guess it was the baths. And it was still there. It was like underground, and you could walk around and check it out. It was pretty cool. Lots of cool stuff and lots of museums there. Like there's a museum with all of the ancient Roman statues and carvings and a whole lot of them. It was pretty. And then, but right there also, are I think the two biggest mosques in the world when the Muslims came and took over. The Turks, the Ottomans, I guess, when Constantinople fell in, what was it? The year, they lasted all the way up until, what, like 1450 or something? They came and built their mosques there, and like right next to the mosque was like the place where the Sultan lived, and he had a great, amazing compound, all within the walls, and all these different, like, it was like a little mini city within these big walls, and like you could see all the different rooms where all of his like wives lived, and like each wife would have like her own apartment, and they had like the hangout place, which is like out back on this big like circular building with like in and inside it was like this big open area, and like you could sell it. I guess they had it built up like all these pillows everywhere where they hang out. It looks really cushy to hang out there, and that was like right looking over the river, and it was right next to one of the mosques, which was really intricately ornate with like paintings. And then they also had really intricate tile from back there too, from the Constantinople days, like 1,000 years old or something, or 1,500 years old maybe, I don't know. But it was like they had one of like a lion and an elephant, and in some room. In another building between the two mosques, I think. It was really pretty. And they have a lot of carpet salesmen there selling carpet, and they're really aggressive. And this is like towards the beginning of my traveling, so I was like really tolerant to them. I'd walk by and they'd be like, no, don't go away, where are you going? And I'd be like, hey, and I'd come back and talk to them and be like, yeah, but no, sorry, I don't want to buy a carpet. And I felt kind of bad because I'd be like, no, but wait, no, get in my carpet. And there was this other guy who gave me a tour of one of the mosques, and he was a really good tour guide. But at the end, he wanted, I guess it was my payment. I didn't tip him. Maybe I should have tipped him. Maybe I did. But he wanted to show me his carpet. He was like a carpet dealer, and he wanted to show me his store. And I was like, dude, I'm not going to buy a carpet. You got me mixed up with a different kind of traveler. And I felt kind of bad, but I had to not go to his store. He seemed kind of nice. But there's this other guy who was a vendor who I saw on the Circus Maximus selling postcards, and I was like, no thanks. And he was like, where are you from, America? And he's like, I don't like Americans. Americans are my least favorite of the tourists. I was like, why? And he's like, because you're rude. You don't ever talk to me. You just walk away when I try to say something. I was like, huh. But that was just him. But then I was staying at a cool hostel. It was like multi-level, and on the top level was a bar. It was really cool. But somebody in my room was like really sick. I could smell that sickness, and then I went to Gallipoli and I got really sick for 4 days. Sickest I'd ever been in my life, like hallucinating, and I got asthma after that. That was the day I got asthma. I was fucked up. But I saw Gallipoli, and Gallipoli was really... Oh man, I've already done this video. I'm supposed to do like what I think about Turkey. Well, I'd heard a bunch of people who had been drugged. Like somebody offers them a drink and then they wake up and they'd passed out and then all their stuff stolen. And one guy wanted to buy me a coffee at a bus station. He looked kind of sleazy, and I was like, no thanks, dude. Why do you want to buy me a coffee, dude? And anyway, at that point, I decided to just not go south anymore because I was just like, I'd just been sick, and I suddenly decided I wanted to go to Nepal. But anyway, Gallipoli was crazy because there's like the trenches were like 10 feet apart, or the Australians versus the Turks, but like Turkey, yeah. The locals kind of aggressive. That was the first place. Well, I'd been to Morocco before that. They weren't as bad as Moroccans, but they were pretty aggressive as far as, hey, you stop, no, let me show you. But they seemed to, and one lady was accusing me of not being able to speak English, which was weird because she couldn't understand me. She was just kind of grumpy. But they had these like hookah pipes where they would smoke, like in this place we went downstairs under the hostel where they smoke like apple in these bongs. They put like flavored apple. You don't get high at all, but I guess it was just to hang out and smoke it, taste it. It's pretty interesting. And they had like other flavors too, like a different kind of fruits or something. But it wasn't harsh at all. But yeah, so that's Turkey. But I heard there's other parts of Turkey that are worth it to go to. They're really cool, like Ephesus, lots of ancient towns, ancient ruin sites in the east, and also the Noah's Ark supposed to be in one of the Mount Ararat there, but I didn't check any of that out. But Istanbul is really big. Like it took forever to get out of that town on a bus. And it's right next to a river, what looks like a river. It's really the isthmus between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean, but it was like, I didn't really see it though. I didn't really see much of it. It seemed like the city's back of the city was built to it. There were like buildings blocking you where you couldn't actually, there weren't like many walkways right to the edge to be able to look off and see it, but maybe it was just because it wasn't adventurous enough. But anyways, whoa, that was a long one.